Hey, are you okay? Milo asked, walking up to her. Amy sniffed and nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Milo took a step closer, but stopped when she took a step back. It's okay, Milo said, trying to reassure her. Amy sniffed again and nodded, before turning and walking away. I was making tea, she said as she moved to the table. Do you want any? I have a few kinds. She answered. I have a mint tea, a lavender tea, and a chamomile tea. I'll have the mint, Milo answered. Mint is good, she said. I would normally choose a black tea myself, Milo said as he took a seat. She pulled a few pots down, inspecting them as if to find the perfect one for that tea, settling on one that Milo knew as the assassin's teapot. The insides of the pot had been very familiar, but he had never seen a clear one, as if the maker had missed the point of it. He often used something similar when having humans over, keeping the blood-saturated drink to the blood drinkers. Amy noticed him looking. Oh, I love this pot, Amy said as she pulled the pot out. It's called an assassin's teapot. As she did, she told Milo things he had already known about this pot. But more importantly, she explained what she used it for. Instead of holding poison, the smaller part was now reserved for milk. I see, Milo said. It's beautiful. I know, Amy said. It's a gift from my mother. Oh, Milo said. That's nice. Yes, Amy said. It is. Amy poured Milo a cup of tea and handed it to him. Milo took it and drank it. This is very good, Milo said. I know, Amy said. It's my mother's recipe. Milo's mind went to the distant past. What felt like a few days was really over 150 years ago. He wondered where they all were now. How do you normally make tea? Amy's voice cut through the party as he looked up. I'm sorry. What was that? He asked, despite hearing her just fine. How do you take your tea? She asked once more, showing the different variety of tea leaves she had. He couldn't tell her the truth, so he made up a story about adding thick milk to his drink. He had done this before in the 1600s, when a group of people started questioning the consistency of the tea he made. After that, he made the thicker tea for everyone who came so no one could question it anymore. Oh, that's so cool. I love learning about different cultures. What period did that start? She asked with large, round eyes. Teach me how to make it. Only then realizing there was no milk in Justin's place, Justin watched the two of them without saying a word. There is a convenience store across the street. His voice was hollow and took both Milo and Amy by surprise. I'll go get some things. I'll go with you, Amy said. No, Justin said. I'll go alone. Amy watched him leave. What's wrong with him? I don't know, Milo said. I think he's just a little shaken up. I guess so, Amy said. But he normally sees milk as morally reprehensible. Here you are, she said, handing him a cup. Thank you, he replied. He took a sip, and then another, savoring the flavor. It was good, even if it wasn't exactly what he was used to. This is good. I'm glad you like it, she said, smiling. He took another sip and then set the cup down. So, what do you do? He asked. I'm a student right now. I'm studying journalisms. Justin's voice came from the other room. I'm putting a movie on. What do you want to watch? As he spoke, Amy looked over, then shrugged. Whatever you want. It was at that very moment the cup Milo held fell to the ground, shattering as he doubled in on himself. Are you okay? Amy asked as she jumped to her feet. With a wave of his hand, Milo waved her on. I'll be fine. Only taking a few steps before stopping. Catching the side of the counter between the living room and kitchen, he held his head. I just need to. I should lie down. His words came out forced. He sounded like he may become sick, but forced his way to the bedroom door as he disappeared. Amy became overly worried about Milo, to the point she couldn't concentrate on the movie or much of anything else. Justin moved as close as he could to her. His hands caressed her legs. Even his kisses, couldn't shake the terrible feeling she had. Do you think he's all right? She asked. It doesn't matter, Justin answered, now trying to convince her body into a more vertical position. Are you sure? She asked. Her force was more on the door than Justin. It just that he seemed. With that, Justin leapt up. His nostrils flared and for a moment, he seemed like he was going to explode. Instead, his arms shot in the air. I'm going to the bathroom. Leaving Amy alone on the sofa. Her eyes darted from the bathroom door to the bedroom. Before she could stop herself, she was gently tapping at the bedroom door with the tips of her knuckles. Milo? Her voice was soft as she slowly opened the door. As she peeked around the corner, a feeling of dread passed over her. She could just barely make out Milo's silhouette, but the room slowly got darker. as if a dark fog was filling the room. Now that she stood there, she felt as if she could not move. As the room got darker and darker, where once the light from the outside almost seemed unreadable, bright, was now barely aglow. As her eyes adjusted, dark patches formed in the room. Long pipes that seemed to come from Milo. Thick at first, but fading into nothing. As they got closer, the more they resembled tentacles. The next thing she knew, one had been around her neck. Try as she might realize herself from its engagement, she found there was nothing to grasp at. This, however, didn't stop her from gasping. Unable to pull in the slightest of breaths, the world around her turned to static. A loud ringing in her ears. Her vision blurred. She could feel herself shaking, gasping for air that wouldn't come. Finally able to break free, she quickly shut the door and backed away. She could feel her heart racing as she tried to process what she had just seen. It was as if some dark force had consumed the room. She felt a cold sweat on her forehead as she tried to calm herself down. She told herself that it was just her imagination, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong.